Hey y'all, welcome back. So we're continuing working on our genealogy, and we've discussed Adam last, so now you would think would be Eve. But Jewish mysticism or Jewish mythology says that Adam had a first wife, Lilith. Trigger warning. This episode might talk about some uncomfortable themes. So Jewish legend says that Adam had a first wife, Lilith, but she quarreled with him and flew away. God sent 3 angels after her. They found her in the Red Sea. God threatened her with the daily death of 100 of her children, but she did not return. She feasts on the blood of newborns. Her name is Akkadian, which means night, dark, ghost, specter. But it could also mean luxuriousness, lasciviousness, wantonness. She is number 9 on the list of archdevils. This list that Father Aquarius put together, the Kabbalah Unveiled Part 2, number 26, there's Lilith, number 9 on the archdevils. Now, it should be noted that the lower you go, the darker it gets. According to the Key of Solomon by MacGregor Mathers, Lilith is the queen of Gamaliel, or the obscene. Lilith, the demon of debaucheries. Obscene is morally repulsive, disgusting, have a tendency to deprave or corrupt. From what I can find, she's associated with Adam in the garden because God brought all of the creatures before him to name them. And she was named. At the same time, I'm not sure that I agree with the idea that Lilith refused to submit to Adam. I mean, she probably did not want to submit to Adam, but I don't see him ever being attracted to her. You know, when Eve came, maybe they did something, I don't know. But when Eve came out, he was like, oh, this is it. This is it. If he liked Lilith before, it was only because he didn't have Eve to compare her to. Her next appearance in the Bible would be with in Isaiah 34:14. She's actually mentioned before Lucifer. Okay, going back to Genesis, male and female, he created them both. That, and according to Strong's Concordance, is number 5344. That word female, it means puncture. So this is where you get vampire, Mary's heart, Jesus' side. It's to pierce with a pointed object, to cause collapse, depreciate, reduce, or diminish. A small hole made by a sharp object. Remember, Eve comes in at the letter Shin, which looks like a giant W, and in there you have those 2 fangs. Lilith attacks newborns and lives off of the blood of children that she slews at night. Slays. In astrology, Lilith represents the dark feminine, and she comes up at the furthest point of the moon's orbit. That's where we find Lilith. It's interesting that she's associated with the moon because we've already talked about the moon and Artemis and Diana and Hecate and Persephone and Sin, the Sumerian moon god. Lilith is also considered a goddess now. She's not really mentioned in the first word of the Bible. We did find some other gods. We found Ra, Horus, Lord Shiva, Santa Muerte, but this is our first mention of Lilith. And it said that one of her parents may be Chaos, which gives us an interesting connection to another giant monster. And that would be Typhon, who's also could have been a child of Chaos. Typhon is a monstrous serpent giant. He was on the original number 15 tarot card, which we now know as the devil. He's also featured on the number 10 Wheel of Fortune. With Echidna, he's the progenitor of many famous monsters, and in Egyptian mythology, he is identified with Set. That brings us back to our connection because Lawrence Gardner, he wrote that Cain is the ancestor of all the Egyptian pharaohs and making him Osiris. So Set is his brother. And Typhon is a serpent. So what if the Adam and Lilith story was not so? I told you this was going to be questionable. But Typhon attacked Eve and is the father of Set. And then God comes down, that Deus Ex Machina that we see whenever we see the letter H appear in someone's name. Abram, Abraham, Sarah, Sarai, Sarah, Set, Seth. So Seth is the one who carries on this bloodline. So, you know, maybe when Jesus says, you are like your father, the devil, you know who he's talking to. According to Jubilees, Seth married his sister Azura. They had 23 boys and 33 daughters. And another interesting note about Seth is that we all know the story of Cain and Abel, how Cain slew his brother Abel. Abel was he was the rancher, the herder. He followed the herds. Cain was in one place. He was the farmer. He had a plot of land. He had to stay there with it. Cain, by staying in one place, he destroys the lifestyle of Abel. A metaphysical death, not a real one. But then Seth comes along and he's a scribe. In fact, some people think that Sethian Gnosticism comes from Seth. He did write the Apocalypse of Adam, supposedly. Anyway, so Seth is a scribe, and now everybody wants a desk job. So Seth essentially murders Cain, and we do know that Set murders Osiris. It's just something to think about. Peace out.